Hello, my name is Chloe Villano with Cloverleaf University, the nation's first approved cannabis and hemp university by the Colorado Department of Higher Education's Private Occupational School Board. And today we're launching our Leaf Talks podcast series, Sports, Meds, and Money, with some of the best doctors, attorneys, and athletes in cannabis to talk about sports medicine, research, cannabis in medicine, and cannabis in education. So this is an amazing panel that we have here. We have the amazing Frank Shamrock, and I have all your bios here so I can tell a little bit about who you guys are. I also have Al Harrington's going to be joining us and logging in as well. We've got Kyle Turley, who is very well known in the cannabis industry, has been advocating and pushing for cannabis for a long time now, and really just spoken so beautifully and changed so many lives. So we appreciate you, Kyle. And then we have the amazing Rob Van Dam on here. How you doing, Rob?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Hey, Kyle. How you doing, brother?
What up, brother?
Awesome. Good to see you.
Boo, can we get Boo muted here?
Hey,
There you go.
There he is.
I'm in the place to be. How y'all doing?
We're
Yeah.
very thank you. And Frank, let me see. Frank Shamrock, thank you for making it.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you. So I'm so excited to have you guys here today. I want to go through so we could just start kind of down the list. We could start with you, Frank. I want you guys to just come on and tell me a little bit about your personal stories. We'll go one by one, and then we'll do some group discussion, just about what it is that how your career started, and then how you ended up using cannabis and how that became a big part of your life.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you let me go first. I don't have the football pedigree that the boys have, but I've or the pro wrestling, but I had done quite a bit of fighting. And
before you start, I have your bio here, and it says that you are a retired American professional mixed martial artist, and at one time, Shamrock was the #1 ranked pound-for-pound UFC fighter in the world during his reign as the UFC middleweight champion.
AKA the man.
Nice.
that's true.
Indeed.
That's all true. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I started young. I started when I was 22. I wasn't from a sporting background, and it was an emerging sport at the time. So I just kind of jumped into it. But it was through, I went to Japan and started my training first, or completing my training. And then I started fighting professionally. But it was early on in my sports career where I just was in pain, like a lot of physical pain, a lot of, aches and pains, and a lot of trouble sleeping. When you go into fights as your profession, it's pretty anxiety ridden. So I took to cannabis quite early and used it throughout my entire sports career. Luckily at the time, testing wasn't as evolved as it is now. So I really only had to pass, that initial championship or after fight test. But it became my medicine of choice over about everything else. Most of my career, I just used cannabis and then ice. And that got me through 16 years of fighting. But it was, I also got to see my mentors who were older than me, my coaches, my teachers. They all went through the use of pain medication and painkillers and Vicodin, all those different substances. And I could tell the difference, when they were taking that medicine as opposed to, what I was taking. So I believed in it quite early. I used it throughout my entire sports career up until the day I retired. And then I've had a great result from the, application of it.
Perfect. And are you in the business now?
In which business?
Or the cannabis business?
Yeah. I work mainly as an educator and as a spokesman in the cannabis space. So I do a lot of different stages talking about the use of cannabis, both in sports and ironically with executives, high-level executives. I do corporate coaching, executive coaching for high-level executives. So we sort of intertwine, the same message. It's a far better, social lubricant than alcohol, in my opinion. So it
Correct.
comes across the table quite often.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to go down the line as I see you guys. So basically, who logged in first? So Kyle, you want to go next?
Sure. I appreciate it, Chloe. It's great to be with you. Great to be with everybody out there listening and tuning in. Great to be with the panel. It's awesome to see everybody's faces. We've been away from each other for so long now. It seems crazy with all this COVID. And, for me, my sports journey was, much like Frank's. I was fresh, into football. I didn't play till my senior year of high school. It was a late bloomer, if you will, and it just, was my thing once I did it. And I committed to the dream fully. So I stayed away from using cannabis entire, high school, my senior year, I never, and in college, never, just around it, contact wise, in all the parties at San Diego State. I heard they're nothing like BYU's parties when Jim McMahon was but I saw my friends, they were getting suspended, losing scholarships. It was really unfortunate. The things I saw, and I just never wanted to have that be a part of my life. And so I just abstained. I never saw anything wrong with it. Some of my best friends were some of the biggest growers and producers and dealers, if you will, going, through high school and into college. I remember one time driving some guys home from San Diego State party. They're like, hold on, drive over here, park in front of this house. And the guy runs in and brings out like a whole tree ready to harvest. He had just finished drying. And, I was always around it. And it escaped me, though, until my second year of the NFL. And a Hall of Fame player, saw me struggling, saw me, in need and advised me, just honestly and from the heart, Kyle, you need to try this. And that was the first night in a long time I had gotten a full night's sleep. I could really eat again and maintain. I was a lineman, so I had a lot to deal with, being young, first round draft pick in the NFL, a lot of pressures. And a lot of pain. Injuries just start to mount when you're running 60, 70 plays a game as a lineman in those trenches. So, the pills just became my life. And I never thought I could, relieve myself from those fully. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever believe that I could free myself completely from pharmaceuticals, from even just an aspirin, which I had not for 6 years now since committing to cannabis. I've seen an unbelievable resurgence in my own physical, well-being, and more importantly, cognitive. This brain disease in football and in MMA and all these contact sports is very real. And there has been nothing that has, saved my life in this whole pursuit of trying to find some type of life after the game than cannabis. It's been amazing experience. And I enjoy this ride more than anything because it keeps me where I need to be. And that's, a father, a husband, member of society that is responsible, just trying to make it out here and live in this world. And I think that's more so the road of the average person out there. And that's where this conversation lies.
I love that because it gives people hope. And if you want to do this, you can. And you can get off pharmaceuticals and you can take your health into your own hands. So
absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. So Jim.
Hey there, Chloe.
Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got in. We know a lot about you, but even when you hosted the Cannabis Business Awards with me, I know you wanted to wear your glasses and the lights, and you've had a lot of injuries that have really affected you that really have helped. Cannabis has really helped.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But I was lucky enough to start enjoying cannabis in 1973. I was 14 years old with some friends and smoked my first joint then. All I knew then was it made me sleep, or helped me sleep. It helped me eat. just helped me feel better. And, over the years, throughout my career, like Kyle said, they feed you as many of these painkillers as you can take to relieve some of the aches that you're going to have. But with those things, you're always in a fog. You can't go to the bathroom regularly, which is terrible. And just all kinds of bad things happen with these opioids. And cannabis, I haven't touched an opioid since, I believe, 2000.
Good for you.
I've been continued my cannabis all through, high school, college. It was tough to find there, BYU boys. So let me tell you. But yeah, even in my pro career, I mean, I was eating so many painkillers, I couldn't sleep. So I'd go home and smoke a bowl and be able to get a little bit of sleep at night. But since I got to know Dr. Dhanabalan, who I believe has been on your show or is going to be on later.
Yep.
He's taught me so much about the plant and, really what it does for the body, about the endocannabinoid system, the receptors up and down your spine and your brain, how it's an anti-inflammatory, how it's a neuroprotectant. I mean, how it just slows so many diseases down or gets rid of a lot of things. And I've always told people this. I said, if you believe in God, I said, this is his gift to us, because it's a healing plant. It's not a drug. It does so much good for so many people. And, I'm glad these kind of shows, stigma is finally going away.
Thank you so much. Rob Van Dam, I know that you definitely have some injuries, because you would jump off the side of these huge ropes in wrestling and jump on top of other people, and at very high contact there in wrestling. So tell us a little bit about your journey, and let me make sure you're unmuted here.
Boom. My journey, huh? Okay. Well, so I wasn't a jock or even into sports in school. I was a nerd. And I didn't know how to get the girls. I tried to make everybody laugh, and I became a wrestling fan and then just was hooked on it. But I also stayed away from any drugs. I mean, I was taught in school that marijuana is a hallucinogenic and it's as bad as heroin and acid. And of course, I didn't want anything to do with that. I wanted to be an athlete. Even though I wasn't in school, once I wanted to be a professional wrestler, which wasn't a class in high school, by the way. It was, I was ready to be done with school, be an adult, and get on with my life. So, but I was actually in Jamaica for my 21st birthday. The first time I gave in to peer pressure from the other wrestlers. They were all so happy to be in Jamaica smoking the ganja, and I didn't want anything to do with it. But, peer pressure. Come on, hit it, you prima donna. It's not going to kill you. Hit it. Everyone else hit it. It was one of those situations. But I ended up, eventually, enjoying it. At first, recreationally, although I could describe that differently now, because when you really think about it, a lot of the factors that you would list as recreational factors are also medicinal. I mean, they call alcohol spirits because it lifts your spirit. Marijuana, I started realizing that it made me feel like I'm at my best. Now I understand that it increases my spiritual vibration, which puts out a much better energy. And it does that by blocking a lot of the negative energies, whether it's from traveling, upset stomach, anxieties from performing in front of a crowd, pain from injuries, whatever it is. All of this is definitely medicinal. It's a different way of looking at it. Now, I also got into many pills. In my ACW days, 97, 98, 99, I was eating so many somas and painkillers and whatever it was, fucking what, morphine, sweet, that was like, it was just a party state of mind. And all my brothers started dropping off. And a lot of the wrestlers from my generation don't live to be 50 years old. I mean, if you're not familiar with that, Google it or YouTube it. It's very well known because there's been a lot of articles about it. But the newer generation, not so much. They're gonna have a longer life expectancy because one, they're smoking marijuana because they listen to RVD. I went against a lot of the protocol. You know, all of us athletes did. What's great is that we were all paying attention to stuff that other people weren't paying attention to. So that puts us so further ahead. We know so much more about it. We're in great positions to help other people now. And younger wrestlers are smoking more marijuana instead of taking pills and drinking alcohol like they did 20, 30 years ago. Also, it's a lot more athletic lifestyle, wrestling style, which in order to compete with this athletic pro wrestling style that is now, thanks to RVD, bridging that gap. Because of that, they have to have a more athletic, clean lifestyle. They can't be 275 pounds and be out partying every single night like they used to, because now everyone's doing flips and kicks and spins. And for that reason also, they're going to live a lot longer. So I'm glad for that. And I'm always happy to educate anybody on my, I don't know, almost 30 years, I guess, of studying the plant, you know. So because of all my friends dying off, that gave me the inspiration to start my own CBD line, as I was reading that the NFL was considering CBDs and CBGs to regenerate dead brain tissue. And all of that interest, you know, brought me into wanting to do my part to help. One, I don't want to lose any other friends. Two, I don't want to go down that path. And it's all similar too. If we find the ingredients that'll help with the brain, it's not just going to be for to slow down CTE, which is a horrible degenerative disease, but also it's going to help with Alzheimer's, depression. I mean, a lot of these symptoms are so similar. It has to do with brain chemistry. And I do believe that the plant, the most resourceful plant on the entire planet that could replace almost everything, you know, I do believe that that's the answer and that we're all on the right path. So glad to be here and glad to listen to all these other athletes share their stories and information, education.
Perfect. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Let's see who else we got on here. Al, we got you up. Let's see. Make sure we.
What you smoking, man? What's that? Let me smell it.
What is this? Good question.
Al, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. You had to unmute me. How y'all doing? What's up, fellas?
Dog.
Good, Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
How you doing, Al?
I'm good, my brother. Hey, honored to be on here with legends, man. Frank, what's up, Frank?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Yeah, definitely. Cool. What up?
Hey, man, listen, man. It's a pleasure, man. Trust me, we've been supposed to get together. We got to get together soon, man.
Well, James, okay. Rob, yeah. So, obviously, just my story. My little story is, you know, obviously, I got into cannabis because of my grandmother. You know, my grandmother, 79 years old, came to see me play in Colorado back in 2011, and you know, she complained about eye pain, and you know, I feel like God moved me. You know what I'm saying? To, you know, try to introduce cannabis to her life. You know, at that point, I wasn't even a smoker myself. I had smoked one time before that, and I was so paranoid, I said I'd never smoke again. Tried to convince my grandmother to try weed, and, you know, I tried it. An hour and a half later, I went to go check on her, and she was downstairs reading her Bible. And she said it was the first time she read her Bible in over 3 years. And, you know, it really motivated me to learn more. And then, you know, a couple months after that, I have a botched knee surgery, and I'm up in, you know, Vail, Colorado. And Chloe, who's on this call, she came up with my co-founder, and, you know, she started telling me about the benefits of CBD. And, you know, since that moment, since she told me about CBD, and I realized that, you know what, this might be good for me too. You know, I've had, you know, 4 surgeries since then, and I've medicated myself through cannabis, you know, since then, you know what I'm saying? So pretty much since 2012, I haven't taken a pharmaceutical pill after a surgery or anything. I even had like a little heart procedure about 18 months ago, and waking up out of that, me and my dad went to the car and started smoking. You know what I'm saying? So,
Let me get one in me.
Yes, I'm a firm believer, bro.
Let me get one in me quick.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel you.
Concentrates up there too, but I don't think we ended up taking those out that day, did we?
No, we did not take concentrates that day.
Al's parents there, and Al's mom comes out into the living room of the hotel where they're at, and she says, "Don't you give my son any weed, or don't
Yeah.
give my husband any weed." And then mom left. Dad comes out and he goes, "Do you have any weed?" I said, "Yeah, but I'm not supposed to give it to you." He said, "Oh, come on, give it to me." He said.
So my journey is definitely an interesting one, but I'm so happy I'm here, man. I'm so happy that, you know, I'm on this call, you know, with you guys, and we're all championing an unbelievable industry. You know, the work that we're doing, maybe we won't see it all the way through in our lifetime, but, you know, our kids are definitely going to understand and be able to, you know, use and understand the benefits of this unbelievable plant that we're all right now, you know, obviously fighting for. And, you know, it's just an honor and a pleasure to be on here with you gentlemen. And, you know, I'm interested just to hear everybody else's story.
Yes. Now, Boo.
Hey, what's happening?
Tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh man, where do I start? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, you know, I've been using cannabis since probably like the 6th grade. I mean, I where I'm from, it was kind of like our culture. You know, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and you know, that was just one of our ways of you know, decompressing out of our situations where we were. We really didn't know what we're doing. But the older you get, you know, that's what you was doing it for. It was like our getaway from our home situations, and you know, just to jail as, you know, just fellas. And then me going to junior college out of Tallahassee, Florida, everyone used it. I mean, everyone at the school. I mean, even my quarterback. I mean, my quarterback, he was on his best game when he was smoking, and it was something that I couldn't do while playing because at the time, I just needed to do it when I wasn't, you know, playing or just chilling at the crib. But I had some players that really that was their thing, and they can play. And it really took away from all the aches and pains, especially our quarterback used to take a lot of hits to the shoulder, hits to the head. I mean, Jim can attest to the hits that a quarterback takes because he's almost like a standing target sometimes. And, you know, it was just a thing of what everyone did at school. But as I went to the University of Arkansas, you know, at Division I level, they test you a lot. So a lot of players, you know, you really couldn't get cannabis and smoke like you really wanted to. It was kind of a thing of trying to dodge the, you know, the drug test. And it was a hit or miss if they called your name. But when I can remember my rookie year going into the NFL, and a certain guy by the name of Kyle Turley came up to me one day in practice and said, "Hey, young fella, you want to come by the house later? We're going to talk to you about something." And I was like, as a rookie, I'm like, hell yeah, Kyle Turley them asked me to come to the house. Okay, I'm coming. And I show up, and Kyle and I think Terry Fontenot was one of our other players, and they actually said, do you smoke? I'm like, hell yeah. So I didn't even know that my, you know, other players on the team smoke like that because, you know, as a rookie, you're trying to just make the team, you're trying to do things right, but at the same time, you still need to medicate like everybody else. And, you know, that I think that as well, what brung, you know, me, Cal Turley, even Ricky Williams I played with on the team, that brought a lot of us together. And to this day, cannabis brought me and Ricky together. Because, you know, Ricky, you know, Kyle will tell you, nobody really talked to Ricky like that. So, you know, when me and him was smoking cannabis, it brought our relationship closer together, closer than anybody on the team that's been on the team with him for years. And from that point, I knew that cannabis was also a connecting, you know, a connecting medicine to where it brings people together. It opens up that other part of the brain, that euphoric part, and people really get to talk about deep things that you wouldn't normally talk about if you wasn't on cannabis. So
the people you normally wouldn't talk with.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean,
yeah.
You can pull up to anybody and hand them a joint in about 2 minutes. You guys are actually having a conversation talking about any and everything. Yeah. And having a sometimes logical conversation. But, you know, that's just the nature of the plant. That's what the plant can do. It has many different facets, and I'm just honored to be on you guys, especially Jim. He knows I mess with him all the time when we see each other. And just to be a part of something good, something groundbreaking, especially with the NFL now opening up the guys to now using cannabis and not penalizing them. And now you see guys coming back for reinstatement. Like, you got what's his name?
David
the
Irvin?
wide receiver.
Is that David Irvin?
Yeah, David Irvin and Josh Gordon. They're coming back for reinstatement because now, it's open. And I think you're definitely going to see a lot more guys playing free, playing open, and now you're not being forced to take these, narcotics, what they really push on you. Chloe was asking me where I was a few minutes ago. I was talking to one of my partners, and I was pulling up some information on some records of mine. And man, it's crazy when you look back on those records to see what they gave you and how many times that they shot you up. And in the records, it would say player asked for not a shot, but something alternative. And I'm like, if they keep seeing this in the records, that should have told them something then, but they were locked into Big Pharma, which really was hurting the product, which is the players on the field or the court. So, that's just my, one of my little stories, man. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy to try to be a guy that's on the forefront of trying to do some things positive and bring some big time awareness to this plant and continue to help the people that I help through the world of cannabis. And Chloe will tell you my motto is saving lives and changing minds, because the more minds that we change about this plant, the more hearts that open and the more lives that you can save.
Nice.
Back to you, Chloe.
Everybody's muted. Okay, I'm on. Because that's
back to you, Chloe.
good, man. Thank you.
Hey, once again, I want to say thank you for my first award. I just want to say appreciate it. It sits right over here on my. You want me to show you where it sits, hey, Chloe? Let me show you where it sits. Chloe, it sits right here. You see it, Chloe?
Damn, that is one nice globe.
Yeah, man, I got it sitting right there. So, hey, I appreciate that.
Beautiful. You earned it. So exciting, because here we are in this opioid epidemic, right? And we see all these people everywhere. And, you never think that opioid addiction is going to start with a dream, right? It's always like, oh, this person chose to do drugs or chose to do something like that. But, when it comes down to sports, I think a lot of these children that think, oh, I want to get into sports, have no idea what they could be up against or what their life could be, looking in hindsight years later. What were the injuries that really that started this type of stuff? Because I know personally, I deal with back injuries. I've had shots, nerve ablations, all of that stuff, and I don't take narcotics either. So I couldn't imagine if I was trying to take a team to a different level or show no pain, right? And when you're an athlete, you show pain, you're going on the sidelines, you're not going to play. And then, it can affect your career. So talk a little bit about that. And I'm just going to open it up to conversation. You guys can answer on each other, ask each other questions, relate to each other. And we'll just kind of go with whoever feels most compelled to kind of come forward and say something on that. But let's really focus on the addiction part of the injuries.
Let old Wiley Vet go over there. The man with the glass. Oh, that's Jim. Both of them got glasses, but Jim. That's my guy right there, man.
As far as I'm concerned, the head is my biggest problem right now. The injuries that I have in my neck. I had a broken neck at some point in my career that they didn't tell me about. I kind of know when it happened. My legs went numb twice in a game, so I know when it happened. But I played another 3 years. I'm lucky to be walking around. But the bad headaches that I would get. Without the cannabis, I would have never got. Thank God I didn't have a gun at the time, because I'm sure I wouldn't have been here. Like a few of my other brothers taking their lives. The pain gets so bad, and you get so frustrated. But the cannabis seemed to, calm me. relaxed me. And then, of course, having to go to New York, which I'm going back next week to get another adjustment. I usually have to go every 3 months, but with this COVID, I couldn't fly. So I'm finally getting to go see him because I've been having headaches for about the last 3 or 4 weeks now. But it's really the only thing that helps me get through the day and through the night. And I've got so many other injuries, but with my head and my neck, that's really what I have to focus on right now.
And you say you don't take any, did you say aspirin too?
No, I haven't. I had to take some ibuprofen, whatever they call that. My foot swelled up last week for some reason, so I tried to get the swelling down. But that's the only. I haven't taken aspirin, anything, cold medicine, nothing. I take some
Iron Man.
natural pills for my. I have high blood pressure. I have to keep under control, but it's a natural. Yeah. And other than that, yeah, it's just been cannabis and edibles and topicals, whatever I feel I need that day.
Man, yeah.
Nice.
I know exactly what you mean.
Your story.
You want to talk?
It's the traumatic brain injury, right, of playing football.
Yeah.
And I remember when you guys talk, it would be, like Kyle would tell me, I shouldn't even be driving off my weed. Like, I really should, I'm better on it. And I remember, Kyle, your strain has always been Jack, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, just going off of what Jim said, and we can segue right to Boo Williams right after me, and that was dealing with this brain injury. Boo and I reconnected after our playing career at a facility that Boo started down in San Diego with the Crosby Center, and he was out in California. And I was using cannabis casually, I knew what it could do for me as far as, that extra little thing that helped me get through the day or took the edge off of all those pharmaceuticals. But it was nothing like I had, experienced once I finally got to my end, really. And that was, a day after I saw Boo down at this facility. And, we're just in this environment where we're with so many of our brothers in these same scenarios. And we were sitting around talking and telling our stories and, meeting with each other and just fellowshipping and just trying to understand that we're not alone in this. And then, sitting at home watching TV and going, here's a pharmaceutical commercial right in front of my face that's telling me all these negative things. And I just remember focusing on that. And then right after that was a class action lawsuit commercial. If you were on this drug, and I just sat there and I'm like, I'm on 12 of these pills a day, different medications for all of these things. And I just, these are definitely doing something to make what's going on in my brain worse. And I know it. And the biggest thing for me was psych medications. And, you start acknowledging, all of these injuries and you start talking to these doctors and they just start doling you out these pills. And for me, it wasn't, the painkillers. I could never take more than, 2 Vicodin a day. That was it. I was fortunate because so many of my friends and Jim and all these guys that talk about 14 Vicodin a day and things like that's just mind blowing to me. And because it made me sick. I was nauseous. I remember throwing up after games because I downed a couple Vicodin and thought I could eat some food real quick and everything will be okay. And I'm outside of Houston's down there at the Lakeside Mall and just throwing up in the bushes, in front of people the fans looking like, hey, that's Kyle Turley's puking in the bushes. He must be drunk.
He must be drunk.
Yeah. And I never drank. I never drank. I never did any other drugs. I committed to this dream. And, it wasn't until after my career and those pills just kept mounting and then had some real neurological issues, not just, I feel down, I feel bad and I'm depressed. Those were just increasing. what was my issue was from my rookie year on through my career, I was dealing with vertigo, and it would just randomly occur. To me, it was random. Looking back in the dates in my files now and understanding CTE and how this works, and second impact syndrome, and continuing to play through concussions that were really severe that I should have taken a week off to recover from. Every one of these situations where I've got it documented, where I've come into practice just dizzy as hell, throwing up everywhere. I mean, this would happen before games sometimes, and they would be giving me shots of all kinds of different things and anti-nausea medications and all these other things just to keep putting you out there. And so post-football career, I found myself in the ER multiple times, having seizures. Light sensitivity became off the charts. Was like Jim, could not go anywhere without wearing sunglasses and a hat. It was very disabling. And then that depression, and then being on then prescribed psych medications like Depakote, Wellbutrin, Zoloft. I mean, these things are what they hand to you, and they all have this side effect on their bottles, ironically, of suicide. And these things started becoming very real to me. And my story to Boo's story to Jim and all of our friends that have taken that road and gone too far, the one thing that has been consistent of saving lives and keeping guys from that has been cannabis. And it was a true moment for me where God truly saved my life by showing me the way that sitting on that couch, I got to make a decision. And I had never given cannabis its full opportunity. It was always just a supplement. And I just said, you know what, this is my last chance. I was having some real dark thoughts at the time. And I had just stumbled upon being in California for long enough.
Talk to me.
A strain that really spoke to me. You find that strain, and it gives you that confidence. And so I got a pound of that from a buddy of mine, and went to work. Just hunkered down for about 2 months, going through the sweats and everything, and just really freeing myself. And I just saw this, because I had tried it before, getting off these pills, especially the psych meds, and they just quickly grab you back because you just don't feel like you can do it without them. And that one strain, just really hit me so perfectly that my mind started to heal. And about 2 months after, getting all these poisons out of my system and sticking to cannabis only. And then the evolution of CBD, sitting in the back of the bus with you in the Weed Maps bus, Chloe, up at the Emerald Cup, and discovering CBD, that was like 5-6 years ago, and CBD just hitting the scene, and having the opportunity to, go that far now and know Rick Simpson oils and how to deal with so much. I mean, people talk about inflammation, Jim's inflammation. I mean, Rick Simpson oil right now, I know the answer. Go to sleep, take it, get your tolerance up to, taking as much as possible, and CBD every day, all day, and then find your strain. It's truly life-changing. And I can't thank Boo enough for what he did in creating that facility that the NFL went and attacked because we're starting to get results, and unfortunately shut it down. And we're here. Thank God, and it's all in His hands because this is His plant. And look at the amazing things that it's doing for myself and everybody else out there in the sports world. The sky's the limit in the general public.
Wow. Beautiful story, Kyle. Thank you for sharing with us. I think it's so important to understand because even you, Boo, remember you were suicidal, extremely suicidal. I don't know if anybody else had dealt with that, but you never think this, after this amazing sports career that you come out feeling like that. And that, I mean, is anybody else?
You come out, you feel real low. You feel like you're this big tough guy, and then you have all these different emotions and everything running through you, and you can't go to anybody because of the persona you have to have, and you're built to be tough, and that part of being macho and help seeking doesn't go together. And that's just a thing that athletes and men have to get over. But as Kyle was saying, when Kyle used to get ready for the game. The thing was, he got his headphones on. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Do not talk to Kyle before the game. And he got them headphones on. And he listening to that rock music. Don't you talk to him. Because he will snap. So, and it just goes back to all the head injuries we dealt with. Because, just to make a long story short, anybody didn't know my story, I laid on the railroad tracks in 2011 and tried to end my life. And it was by the grace of God, like some homeless people saved me. And, it's crazy how Kyle said he was on the couch and he was looking at TV. When the homeless people walked me back to my friend's house, I'm on the couch looking at the Khloe Kardashian show. And it was Lamar and Chloe. And I'm like, okay, how worse could it get right now? I'm watching the Kardashian show. And Lamar's friend, Jamie, was depressed. He was real depressed. His name's Jamie. And I seen him. He had all these different emotions. It was dark in his house. He wasn't shaving. He wasn't doing Lamar's business. And I'm like, damn, that looks like me. And another segment came on when he went and got himself some help. And he went out this place out west, and he was doing all these tests and scans, and then he came back, he was a different person. And I'm like, damn, that's what I need to do. So I just called up the place where I seen online on the TV show. I called them up, and they asked me how fast could I get there, and I said, give me a week. So I showed up in a week, man, and I was supposed to be there for 30 days, and I ended up staying for like 8 months. And during this 8 months, man, I learned so much about myself, learn, what I was going through, how to deal with it. It's a thing of putting tools in your tool belt. And every time, certain things come up, you got a tool for that job. And with dealing with head injuries, you have to have some type of awareness of really what's going on with you and how to deal with it so you don't put that burden on others. And then finding what your gift is, because a lot of us after the game, after our sport, is finding, what your passion is and what is my other gift other than this sport. And that's where, the mind starts playing tricks on you. And next thing you know, you're on different types of medicine, you're getting aggravated, and then you snap. So, that's where the cannabis comes in, because cannabis has that yellow light and red light. Because, Sham, you can tell, like in our sport, we only have a green light. That's go. and in sports, if you got a yellow light or red light, you're dead. So cannabis has that part. It taps to the part of the brain that says, hey, wait, hold up. This is the situation. Analyze it. Okay, this is the best situation. So, cannabis, it gives you that sense of, now I have control of myself, other than the narcotics and the drugs having control over you. And that's the wrong thing to get to have over you, because we see so many of our friends, our teammates, they get locked in on those certain narcotics, and then they can't get away from it, and then they become addicts, and then they become deep in, and next thing you know, they're killing themselves. So I love being part of this industry. I would never thought in a million years after football that I'll be here in this space with Kyle and Ricky, and all of us played together on the same team. And hell, dealing with Ricky, I got caught on a drug test, messing around with Ricky. Me and him, we used to smoke it up. And Ricky was like, I said, Ricky, when are they testing? And I'm a rookie. And he's like, hey man, your last name's Williams like mine. They're not going to test you to training camp. And I said, okay, mini camp, who name they call? They called my name. And I was like, oh my God, they called my name. So, but they put you in a drug program for 2 years, and they really treat you like you're like a big time drug addict because you're smoking cannabis. And it's like, okay, if this guy is using cannabis, try to find out really what is he going through, what is he needing it for, and let's see how we can just use this alternative medicine instead of the medicine that we're giving him. So now we've opened up that highway to guys getting the help that they need, the medicine that they need. So, I think our job is paid off, and it's a job well done.
It's awesome. Yeah, I remember Ricky telling us that story about how he was getting high, because he said when he won the Cannabis Business Award, it reminded him of when he won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. Right around that time, but he said that this one actually meant even more, which was really cool. And I definitely I love hearing that story so much because
But you know what, Chloe? Ricky was a guy that never had people getting close to him. And cannabis was that gap and that bridge of bringing you close to him because of what he was dealing with. And I can remember back, I used to bring some of my friends back from home, and we would go to Ricky's house to go smoke, but Ricky would connect with a lot of my friends back home, but he wouldn't connect to most people that he was around 24/7 because they didn't smoke. They didn't have that connection that would have you be on his intellectual level because he's a smart guy. And he's not going to sit there and engage in you if he's not having an intellectual conversation.
You know, I rolled Ricky one of those grape swisher blunts that I'm so famous for, right? Because it's my favorite way to smoke.
That's my grapes, baby.
And I've been watching Instagram, and he's been rolling them, and I'm like, who taught you? But I mean, I'm really impressed with his rolling skills now. So I think he's one of us, and it's so such an honor to see him. You know.
Yeah. He probably got somebody. He had somebody rolling up for him. That's why he didn't know how to roll.
He had a roller.
Yeah, he did. Ricky had people that rolled up for him, man. Ricky didn't have to roll. Ricky just said, hey, roll up for me, and they just roll up.
Well, so did I. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
You need to hire you a blunt roller, professional blunt roller.
Then they never do it right, so I end up. Well, we're bringing on Dr. Uma Dhanabalan. I know a lot of you know Dr. Uma.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Doc.
Hello.
Dr. Uma.
Love to see you guys. I'm in Cambridge, Mass.
Hey, it's your boy Boo. I need to come stay at your house in Atlanta tomorrow.
Absolutely. You got to come
That's
down.
my girl.
Beautiful. I haven't been down. We all should come down to Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to do an event out there. Boo's been to my home.
Yes, several times. Dr. Uma let me come. My daughter stays in Atlanta. So Dr. Uma, I go to Atlanta and stay.
We've never been there at the same time, though.
I know. We always keep missing each other.
It's a friends and family home.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
So Dr. Uma, as most of you know, is one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. Very dear friend of mine, inspires me every day. But Dr. Uma does not prescribe pharmaceuticals. She is a doctor that actually cares about her patients. And so I want her to come on. We're going right into our Doc and Jocks panel, which is going to be ran by Dr. Uma. And she's going to get into some serious conversation with you guys about health and asking you questions about what you're going through and all of that stuff. So I think she's going to be amazing, an amazing addition to this conversation, as she really has dealt with so many of these conditions herself and watched so many people heal using natural remedies like cannabis.
Absolutely. It's a safe alternative. And I know we had shared this news earlier, but many of you know that yesterday was October 7th, 2020, and 17 years ago was when the United States of America was given the patent number 6630507, which states cannabinoids as an antioxidant and neuroprotectant. And what this means is that the government has facts that we know that actually can protect our brains and prevent from injuries, and also from Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia. And many sports athletes have had head injuries, and this is a great concern.
Yes, and we were just talking about some of their injuries, their personal experiences, how they came on, and they kind of went down the path. But I know in the Doc and Jocks, you like to go through success stories, as well as the trials and tribulations between addiction, chronic pain, traumatic brain injuries, CTE, PTSD, and really get to the bottom of what's going on and how these guys can really make a difference as the next generation is coming in. And really all eyes are on you guys. I mean, should I come out? Should I put my reputation on the line being an athlete and say that I use cannabis? Is it safe? Will I have any repercussions if I do that? So I'll let you kind of lead the way.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you for this.
You got it.
I just want to first start out with each of our athletes to kind of tell a little bit about their sports and what they love about what they do. And we could go around and maybe we could start with James. Mr. Jim McMahon.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, I love you, Jim. How are you? You just joined in.
Oh, good. I've been here, but haven't said a whole lot. But great to see you. How's your dad doing?
He's doing much better. We're recovering a little bit by little bit. And, you know, when an 87-year-old man has to file for 3 appeals to get physical therapy, it tells you where our healthcare system is.
Welcome to America, huh?
Well, Jim, let's start out by you telling us a little bit about you and your sports and your injuries.
My injuries, I had a lot of them. I started football when I was 10 years old. I played until I was 37. In that time, I had 12 knee surgeries, 4 shoulder surgeries, 2 elbow surgeries. I busted my ankle a couple times. They kept telling me it was sprained. I mentioned my neck earlier and my head. So I've had quite a bit of traumatic stuff. I forgot about my kidney. I tore the bottom part of my kidney off back in 1984 during a game. And then in 1991, I broke 5 ribs off my sternum in another game. So there's a couple where I could have died, and all they did was give me a handful of pills and propped up a little television set so I could watch the rest of the game. But other than that, cannabis has been a lifesaver for me. You taught me all the medical stuff about it. And I told you, it made me eat, made me sleep, made me feel good. And that's when you told me that THC stands for the happy cannabinoid. And that's been my motto ever since.
Absolutely, because a lot of people talk about the word high, and I really want people to understand that there's a positive aspect, and some of it is the terminologies that we use. And when it comes out of people like you, it makes a big impact for the athletes that are in our future as well. Thank you so much, Jim.
You're welcome.
I want to go to Boo, and tell me a little bit, Boo, about you and how you got into your field.
Man, you know what? It was by the grace of God of really what I went through from laying on those railroad tracks trying to commit suicide. After leaving the Crosby Center, I went back to Louisiana, and my way of thinking was totally different than when I went there. I knew what my gifts were after football. I knew what I was capable of, and I knew where I wanted to go. And I wanted to help other guys like myself, because I know if I was going through that, I know other guys was going through it as well. So, years went by, and I kept creating this curriculum for athletes with neurocognitive issues. So we would do all these brain imagery SPECT scans. We do acupuncture, massage, yoga, neurofeedback, biofeedback, contemporary art. We do all these different types of therapies to try to heal the brain and to have guys conform back to a regular way of life. So I went back to the same place that I went to, and I presented my curriculum to the owner there, Mr. Larry Burns, and he said, "How many players would you think would love to come to a place like this?" And I said, "Well, I got about 100 guys on my phone right now." And he said, "Well,
you're talking about treatment, right?"
Treatment, yes, treatment. And after that, I bring these guys there, and it was the thing where we didn't want to use any narcotics. And what I did was I introduced cannabis to the facility, to the guys, to where I had some of the doctors and the nurses from the cannabis place there in California come up to the facility. They would talk to the players, talk to them what different types of strands that they needed for the ailments, and really broke some things down to the guys. And now guys were using cannabis instead of the narcotics that the team or the insurance was paying for. So, and that opened up a whole different dynamic of the facility, because now these big macho guys were opening up their feelings around the other guys. So now when they went back to their therapy sessions and their one-on-one sessions, a group, now they was easy to get those feelings out because they used cannabis and got it out around their peers. So it really connected the players in a whole and made
as a
guys
support
really want to
system
get
where you
better.
have commonality. Thank you, Boo. Rick,
Yes.
can you tell me a little bit about your background in your sports and how you gotten involved with different injuries and how cannabis has helped you?
Is that
Is
me?
Rick Rob? Oh, is there a Rick?
No, I'm
Did you hear
sorry, Rob.
Me, okay.
Rob.
Now that I know you're talking to me, can you repeat the question, Doctor?
I'm sorry, Rob. Rob, what I'm saying is, can you tell a little bit about your sports and your injuries and
Yeah,
how you've
sure.
gotten involved in cannabis?
Yeah, so I also now have had a lot of injuries. Maybe not as serious as a lot of these guys because I've only had surgery one time. But back in 96, 97, 96, I'd already been wrestling 7-8 years because I'm an OG, but I still thought that I was indestructible at that time. It was looking back. That was way before it was all everything accumulated. But one night I hyperextended my knee, and I had to wrestle the very next night, and I couldn't even walk without limping really bad. And one of the wrestlers, Pitbull Anthony, who no longer is with us, he gave me a 7.5 Vicodin and told me, brother, just take this, man, you'll be fine. Don't worry about your leg. And I remember at the time I was like, will I be able to wrestle? Well, fast forward the next year or two, I was up to 30 somas a day, and I would eat, on top of that, maybe some Vicodin, some Valium, some stuff that's handed around that we might not even know what it is, some Halcyon. It was crazy. And drinking. I was telling the other guys, that a lot of my peers have dropped off, but I got so many concussions in my career, self-diagnosed, because again, like everyone knows, you don't tell anybody. If you think you can keep working, then you don't tell anybody what's going on. But I mean, not silly to where my senses were off hundreds of times. And I have there's a wrestler, ex-wrestler, who got concussions and then left the industry to further the research of the brain study in Boston. Now he's a doctor, Dr. Chris Nowinski. One of my really good friends. I've always talked to him about the subject. I donated my brain and spine years ago. I was asking him, like, way back, probably 2006 or 7. I've had all these concussions, and my peers also, but all my peers had lasting results. They had long-term concussion symptoms. Some of my friends said they would see floaters. Some of my friends said light hurt them, or they would space out, or whatever. But I didn't have any symptoms. And I remember talking to Chris and saying, is it possible, do you think, because I've always had a pretty decent level of THC in my system, do you think maybe that's protecting my brain? And I remember him saying, you're probably onto something, because I was learning at the time how the THC was affecting Alzheimer's. And I knew that what they were talking about Alzheimer's, as far as the plaque developing on your brain, well, that sounded very much like what I was learning about CTE and the tau proteins. And so I was saying, if it helps with Alzheimer's, could it be possible it's been protecting my brain, because I'm not like everybody else? And he said, you're probably onto something, but you would need hundreds of thousands of dollars to start a study like that. But years later, I learned, just like everybody else, that it is a, I just say, a neuroprotectant. And now I have my own CBD line and stuff, and all the other drugs. Not only am I not taking all those crazy prescription pills because I don't need them, but also the industry that I'm in, professional wrestling, that has changed as well. Last time I was in when I made a return to WWE after being gone for a long time in 2013, I believe. So that was even 7 years ago.
And I'm a fan. Trust me, I'm a fan. I used to watch it jump off the top ropes.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm still doing it. That's the thing.
So in the wrestling community, this is one of the things that you know, it's a different set of injuries, right? One of the things that I'm realizing is,
I'm sorry,
Kyle, what kind of injuries have you had?
Okay, but also what I wanted to finish saying, not only do the young guys report all of their injuries now, but they stay away from the pills. I had a trainer in WWE tell me it's changed so much that if somebody's legitimately hurt and they try to give them a prescription, the wrestlers will say, "Oh, do I have to take that?" You know, my generation, we would have been figuring out how to forge the prescription, to get more of them. So it's changed that much. Myself, I've had the one surgery, which was a knee. My knee was rebuilt. It was an ACL and a meniscus tear. But besides that, I'm loaded with arthritis because of non-reported injuries where I've, I have, yeah. But I did. But now when it's hurt bad enough, I do go in and I have like a year ago, I have a torn rotator cuff, and that doesn't seem to be healing. That's been a year. I tried stem cells, hoping, and they helped a little bit because I had them put all over my body, in my brain, all up and down my spine because it's full of bone spurs and herniated discs and arthritis and all that. Put in in both shoulders, put in both wrists. I don't remember everywhere that it was put. It helped a little, but I didn't get as good of results as a lot of other people that went through some of the same stuff. But my list of injury, I broke my wrist several times. My most serious injury is still when I had my torn ACL. But what bothers me most now, there's like a floating pain in my back because it'll hurt somewhere different. As soon as it feels better in my lower back, then my upper mid back hurts. It goes over to my side. Yeah, I'm 49, so it's built up. That's old by a lot of people's standards, but for me, I don't really notice because
you're young. You're still young.
I just keep going.
God bless. Kyle, tell us a little bit about your injuries and how cannabis has impacted your life.
Well, I guess springboarding off of Rob there, I think the difference was, because I think I can't believe you've only had one surgery. I think the difference was, we had these very highly paid doctors around us, and we were guinea pigs to these guys. I don't think that the ECW provided that type of health care and brought great doctors around, and these doctors were just full. But I think that's just an unbelievable testament right there to cannabis. I truly believe now that if I would have known what I knew in cannabis and I was able to use cannabis, freely, without stigma, without care, because, the NFL is a little different stigma. You get busted for marijuana than, being a pro wrestler. And we experienced, Boo and I, firsthand with Ricky down there in New Orleans, and then, over our career and what we saw and how he was just criminalized for it. But I truly believe if I could have taken cannabis back with me, I would have avoided so many surgeries. I think cannabis allows you to deal with these injuries so much better. And your body's an amazing thing. And what has been proven to me is that the endocannabinoid system has that ability to repair and heal. I don't think I needed probably 3 surgeries that I think cannabis could have truly addressed these things. And I just had these doctors that were, unfortunately, and we have you on the panel. Fortunately, we have you on the panel, but unfortunately, we have to, really, hold the medical community at hand here, in that they are so quick to get to the knife. I've had 6, I think, or 7 surgeries. Got plates and screws, and I did surgeries that they contemplated whether or not to do, and I don't know that I needed to do those surgeries. And the medical community, I think, played a bigger role in my health, as far as, these, surgeries that they, were so quick to, suggest. And then once you go under that knife, you're never the same. I had a lateral release from a dislocated knee in college, never regained my left quadricep muscle, was always atrophied. My back injury, started as a, bulging disc. I was complaining of these, hip pain, leg pain during the season one year. And this was my most critical injury in football that really destroyed my career, because then you go quick to the knife, and then all of a sudden everything after that, all the damage, is just truly starts setting in an atrophy, and then you have to rebuild your body back.
Yes, you do.
Because you've been sitting around for so long trying to recover from these surgeries, and for an athlete that needs to maintain such a high muscle mass and athletic ability, these injuries just keep piling up. And I think I could have saved myself a number of probably 3 different surgeries. I think I could have repaired my knee much better. Their reasoning for doing a lateral release is that the dislocation stretched the interior ligament of my patella, so they needed to release the outside so that it falls back into its groove, and then that can tighten back up, and blah, blah,
Absolutely.
blah. I could have saved that with some CBD topicals and, some Rick Simpson oil. Again, the ability to apply this has been unbelievable. I've been able to cure neuropathy. Plantar fasciitis I had for 25 years. Felt like walking on nails and glass, and gone within 2.5 months of sticking to the regimen that Rick Simpson himself talks about on YouTube videos, and I'm about to make my own batch off of something that I grew in my yard this year, from particular strains that I want to try with this and see what next level I can take it to. And that's just coming from.
I'm so proud of you. I get so excited because when I hear that word endocannabinoid, Jim used to make me thrill by saying that, and, honestly, I am very proud of the fact that you guys understand that you have an endocannabinoid system, that you understand that cannabis is a safe option. You understand that you've been traumatized by the healthcare field. And I am a physician. I take pride in the fact that I am trying. Not just trying, this happening. We are educating not only all of you, but my colleagues. My philosophy has always been reach 1, teach 10, teach 1, reach 10. And you guys are my messengers out there. And personally, I had a knee surgery in '84. And back then they put you in a cast and left you there for 6 weeks. And I came out of that arthroscopy, state-of-the-art surgery, and it was half the size of my leg. And you talk about 6 months of recovery to get back 6% of my muscle mass. And that's the rules of 6s. So you're right. Why not try cannabis as a first-line option and not the last resort? I'm asking this of everybody. And Frank, I would love to come to you and ask about your injuries and how has cannabis impacted your life?
Sure. Well, I've only had 3 surgeries, and 2 of them were for the same thing. I broke my ulna. A guy kicked me in the arm and broke my arm, and then I kept fighting, and eventually it displaced. So they put a plate in it, and then I had the plate taken out because I didn't like how it felt in my body. Then I had a slap tear in my right shoulder from throwing a punch that apparently I missed, and I tore my own tendon off my shoulder. But, because I wasn't on a team, and because, I think Rob and I share this, I was a nerd. So, I would read the medical books. I would question the doctors. I did most of my medical care through chiropractic and cannabis and ice, and that was about it. I was able to avoid any real injuries throughout my career. And then, this is something I talk about when I speak often. Like, it's as if it never happened for my body. I don't have any recurring pains. I don't have any headaches. I don't have any imbalances in my body. So I wake up in the morning, unless I've stayed up too late or, didn't put my sleep apnea mask on. I feel like it never happened because my body's completely healed from all the traumas and from everything I've done. And that for me took about 3 3.5 years of just hiking and medicine and working on my mind, body, and spirit, and just sort of, healing myself.
Absolutely.
And, when I went to the doctors and I told them what I was doing, they wanted to put me on this or that, or, they wanted to apply medicine to what I was doing. And I was very clear with them. I'm on one medicine, that's cannabis. And the rest of it, I'm letting my body heal. I'm letting my body, regenerate. And through being in nature and through having, a daily regimen of exercise. Like I was saying, I mean, it sounds weird, but, unless I'm looking at my belts or unless someone is, telling me how great it was, I just feel like a regular dude, like it never even happened in my life. And so, that's a place I'd love for all of us to get, if it's even possible, both through personal medicine and, because I didn't have a team, because I didn't have a team doctor, I was the one that got to make decisions on my personal health. So I was the one to say, hey, I like this, or I don't like that, or don't give me that, or don't give me that. And then because I had, my mentors were a generation older, I was able to see what their response was and what the medicines did to them. So I was able to say, wait a minute, I don't like that. And then because I was in charge of my own self, I was able to, take the medicines that I thought was best for me. And that's where I really feel for the guys on this panel, because when you're in that team atmosphere and when you're trying to, do your best for a team, you're subject to all those other influences that aren't your own personal choice, because you have to go perform for your team. So, I think Rob and I share a little bit of that. You create your own thing, you do your own thing. If you want to destroy your body, you go destroy your body. But if you don't, and you're mindful of it, then there's ways to mitigate that. There's ways to care for yourself. And cannabis, it's been the best medicine I've ever consumed.
Frank, you kind of summed up something that I feel like I could just take everything that you said and say, I'm a primary care physician, but I'm actually understanding that cannabis is about personalized care, and that's what I provide. And this is mind-blowing for my colleagues, because we are so used to make a diagnosis, do that surgery, do that injection, provide that pill. If that pill doesn't work, give him another dose, give him something more. If you get a side effect, we got a pill for that. But cannabis takes that all back to you. And I say cannabis is about you and individualized care. It helps you, and the word I use, the word is titrate. You'll never hear Dr. Uma use the word dose, because dose is a very concrete 500 milligrams of this pill or 50 milligrams. Cannabis, you could get Blue Dream one day and you go back and try the same strain another day, and you're not necessarily going to get the same effects that you got the day before, because you're not the same person. And this is what cannabinoid medicine is really about, is educating people, embracing cannabis as an option, and that should be an option for everybody if they can handle it. And maybe it's not for everybody. But again, empowering people to understand that you can do this a little bit at a time. And on that note, can everybody kind of go around and tell me what have you had as far as positive impacts or any kind of negative impacts in your profession from using this plant?
Yeah, well, I lost the WWE World Championship because of this plant. So that was kind of where, if I wasn't already associated with cannabis, everyone knew after that. But I was pulled over for speeding in Hanging Rock, Ohio in 2006 or 7, and I was the WWE champion and the ECW champion at the same time. So I was really balling, and I got to see both of those championship belts laying in the grass when the cops were going through all of our luggage. But they found 18 grams of bud that I had. I was very not careful. Didn't even have spray, or I don't know. I don't know. But the fans knew everything by the time I was at the arena the next day, and they were chanting, because this is Philadelphia, a really hardcore crowd. When I was in the ring, they split up in two halves, and they were saying marijuana 18 grams. Yeah.
Well, you bring up imprisonment for this plant, and I really feel that it's been criminalized, and I've been reminded that I ain't white, and it is about racism, and it is about politics, and I hope the day will be that nobody will be harmed and be imprisoned for this plant. Going around also, any other stories of how this plant has impacted people positively? Getting off of opioids?
Yeah, it saved my life, period. That's what I tell everybody. Cannabis has truly saved my life. I can say it every day. It does every day. Unfortunately, my injuries and my experience, especially cognitively, it's a struggle, and it is very real. CTE is a very real disease. This tau protein, having the experience like Rob to know people like Chris Nowinski and having tracked this down because we want to live, it's baffling to me that the medical community does not speak louder for cannabis patients to understand not this plant, but their cannabinoid system. And I just truly hope that the medical community can really start speaking about that and get away from this plant, because the criminal natures of this shouldn't even be a component to this conversation. It is real, and it has been used for that purpose. I've been in the back of a police car and just outside Birmingham, Alabama, pulled over right after me and my buddy burnt one down at 2 a.m. on our way to a concert in New Orleans from Nashville. And, they just made us throw it out and get on our way and watch out in Mississippi was the advice. I've enjoyed that privilege. And it's unfortunate that we don't have more of the medical community standing up for this as a medical right so that we can eliminate this. We don't need these politicians in this conversation. We really need the medical community to step up and acknowledge the cannabinoid system, because it is for everyone. It is preventative. It is something, all these other drugs that are being prescribed are things to just put Band-Aids after the fact. And cannabis is something that has continued over and again to prove preventative and as a therapy. I don't understand the lack of education on the cannabinoid system alone. And how that one thing can free this plant. If we just acknowledge this in that medical community, it could have saved me from so many surgeries, I believe, and then just extended my career. I truly believe I would have been able to, play maybe 5-10 more years had I had what I have in cannabis today. And so I just really want the medical community to take charge to what you said and really understand the power they have to free this plant is through exposing the ECS and all of its importance in our bodies. And we can get rid of this conversation about this plant that's really done nothing wrong negatively in our community outside of embolden these true cartels out there. And you look at the numbers, and the true cartels are the DEA and the FDA and the CDC and all these people that are benefiting from all of the seizures of the billions and billions of dollars that they get from their war on drugs that they control.
I'm so glad you're saying that. I've just been appointed as the medical cannabis expert for Mass Medical Society for media. And one of the things I really want to do is I would love to have you guys come to my hometown.
I have all the agreements. I have a pretty lengthy file.
And what I would really want you guys to do is share your stories with my colleagues, because they need to know that the endocannabinoid system is involved with every system and every disease. There is some involvement with the system. We just haven't understood it to the extent that we need to. I've been learning about it for 10 years, and every day I learn something new. And my patients are the reason that I do what I do, and I love what I do. And I share this message with all of my colleagues. Every patient is not going to be a healthcare provider, but every healthcare provider will be a patient at some point in their life. And if they don't need to use it, they'll know somebody that can benefit from it. So, Jim, how has this plant helped you from as far as recovering quicker from other surgeries? You've been through quite a bit recently as well.
There's no doubt that was the reason I was able to come back from those surgeries as quickly as I did, was because of cannabis, in my opinion. I was working out 3 times a day, smoking pretty much, right before, right after. And, I was taking anti-inflammatories at the time, but I was taking no pain meds. And, when I had my first shoulder surgery, they said it would take 2 years to play. And I was playing again in 8 months. Probably shouldn't have been, but I was. And so I don't think there's any question that this plant was helped my body heal a lot faster than it would have.
Jim, what would be your words of advice for parents? And this question is open to all of the athletes. Parents that say their child is using it, and what should they do? And they want to go into being an athlete or football player or wrestler, whatever sports that they want to go into. What would be your advice?
Well, like I said earlier, I started when I was 14 years old. So I don't know when the right time it is for a child or a young kid to start. You're the doctor. I mean, I just know when I started, it didn't seem to affect me or my brain. I was always considered, bright, a student. I didn't apply myself much. It was pretty fast test. But it's just I wouldn't know what age to tell them that it'd be okay. I mean, like I said, it didn't affect me. I've got grandkids right now. My oldest is 3. I've got 4 grandsons and a granddaughter. My kids actually don't use cannabis. I've been trying to convince them otherwise, but I think there's still a stigma with them. So, but it can't hurt you, is all I can tell you, as far as I can tell. I mean, my body and my head feel as good as I think they could feel at this point. Being at 61, and it's been a good ride, and I hope to continue this ride for a long time by using this plant.
If each of you had to go back to your organizations and to change the rules, how would you impact them to do so? What would be your guidance for them in regards to drug testing and policy?
Well, back then, when I was playing, everybody knew when the drug test was. I mean, it was when you showed up in July for training camp. And, nobody, not that I think we had one guy that tested positive, and he tested positive for cocaine, which stays in your system about 3 days. So, if you can't wait 3 days, then you got a problem. And the kid, he did have a problem. But I remember all of us, we'd stop June 1st. A lot of my teammates enjoyed the same thing as me. And by July 15th, we were all pretty squared away. So when we went and had our drug tests, if you passed your drug test, if there was nothing in your system, then during the random test throughout the year, the only thing they could bust you for was steroids. So you could actually, smoke a joint or do a line, whatever you wanted to do, right in front of them, and they couldn't do anything about it. But if you had a steroid in your system, then you were banned for 4 weeks or whatever it was. So it was kind of ridiculous.
The rules and regs. What about in the wrestling industry? Has there been rules and changes made as far as for cannabis now? Or what would the impact be? Rob?
I'm sorry to ask. Could you repeat that again, Doctor? My ear.
I said, what would be the impact since what you've faced and what you've learned about cannabis? What would you go back to your associations and say, what the rules and policies that could be changed in regards to the use of cannabis?
Well, This was, like I said, I think 2007 when I had my big, well-known bust. And since then, a lot of wrestlers have gotten caught with marijuana, and the fans are always up in arms, and they're like, man, that's bullshit. How come, because I got suspended for 30 days, dropped both titles. A lot of people think I got fired just because I ended up quitting shortly afterwards. And things, when they ask, like, if I'm bothered, does that bother me to see the other guys not get treated the way that I did? Hell no, that's progression. That's the way that it should go. And I'm happy that that's the way that it's going. So really, the industry of professional wrestling is way outside of what people see, because WWE is the big, by all standards, ruler, and also they set the standards for everybody. But there's so many other organizations all around the world, especially before this COVID happened, because now if you don't have TV, then pretty much you're not working because there's no crowds. Although that's changing right now, I guess, in Florida. But either way, it's changed a lot. Most of the companies, as far as I know, all the companies outside of WWE don't. Not only do they not mind, they don't test for it. It's just it's not an issue. They might not like it to be right in front of their face, like I'm always doing with my vape pen. I don't know, but that's something that the WWE as well is changing. And I don't know because I haven't been there in a while, but in 2014, I guess is when I think last time I was there, it was a $1,000 fine if you failed for a P test for marijuana, and then I heard shortly afterwards that they raised it to $2,500 because the people were just saying, okay, well, I'm just going to pay it every time, and hopefully it won't be that often. And they want to have more control over the younger guys that are still moldable, shapeable, to teach them that they shouldn't be so comfortable and they should, be a little more afraid of their jobs. And so that now I don't know what the current policy is with WWE. As far as I know, everywhere else doesn't have a problem with it. So I would say to the whole industry, keep going in the direction that you're going.
The next question I have is, as far as the COVID impact, what is the positive effects that has happened to each of you guys during this whole COVID, and what's the message that you would like to get out there for people?
Well, the positive thing for me was I got a lot of yard work done.
I got a letter from the FDA.
Saying what? Oh, for your product?
Saying stop saying CBD can cure COVID-19.
Is that the only thing they said?
Yeah, well, they sent me a letter because I have a CBD company, as many of us do on the panel, and we're doing our best to get that word out there. And, I thought for me, a person who was, saying it could cure everything, which it can, it has the ability. The word cure is to restore to health. I just think we have a lack of communication out here because the truth is being told in all the research around the world now. And I unfortunately got a letter. Fortunately, unfortunately, I controlled some news cycles for about 48 hours in the beginning of this because I wouldn't shut up about it. And I had people from the industry, telling me to shut up and you're going to cause problems for us and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this is a minor virus that is resolvable through a healthy immune system. That's what it's built for. Nothing empowers the immune system more than cannabinoids. And we're out there pushing that, trying to get people protected. And those who now, after myself personally, I've had 20 plus COVID patients that have DM'd me their test results. I have sent them, respectively, a month's supply of CBD as promised. And to anybody listening, DM me. I will. If you have COVID, you got a positive test, send me the picture. I'm 20 for 20. And, the truth is out there. All of this politicizing of this is something that I thought would have really stirred the pot, if you will. I went on Dr. Phil and during COVID, and he tried to give me the beating there that he does most people, and I ended up having Dr. Phil at the end of the conversation say, "Well, maybe he's right." Because it's true, and the immune system is what is at stake here. And to all the pharmaceuticals that we've talked about, they destroy the immune system. And cannabis is something that is unbelievably preventative and a therapeutic that is being proven in studies across the world now. So I had a unique opportunity to experience firsthand, what happens to somebody when they say cannabis cures. And, I've been saying it for a long time. They just ignored me about, I guess, this brain disease that only affects so many people. And when I broke that out against everybody with cannabis and CBD alone, having that ability, it was unbelievably eye-opening and a life changer for me. Coming out of this, I think that we're going to see some new things happen with cannabis that are going to change the world.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, the rush.
I'm going to be speaking at Dr. Raphael Meshulam's birthday, and Dr. Raphael Meshulam is known as the grandfather of cannabis, and he's turning 90. And I'm very honored. And my topic lecture is called The World of Cannabis. And one of the acronyms, and I'll share it here with you guys before the lecture, but I say cannabis cares. And cares stands for C, it's a choice that's out there. It's a safe alternative. There's plenty of research that's out there. It's about education, and it is a solution for the world. And I say that boldly because there's so much that cannabis can be used for. And hemp, marijuana, we've classified these two plants just based on a chemical known as THC. If it's less than 0.3% or greater than 0.3%, daggone it, it's the plant. And the plant, I look at it in two visions. It's medical and it's industrial. And if we can understand that, I look at it, the P, it's for people, it's for pets, it's for the planet, it's for peace, and it's for profit. And that profit is your health. And nothing is worth more than that. And I am so passionate about this, and my mission is to change the stigma regarding cannabis and for the world to know about the endocannabinoid system, and I do it through education. And this panel came because Doc and Jocks, me being the Doc and you being the Jocks, are my messengers, and you guys are all educated about the endocannabinoid system. I can't say that about all of my colleagues today. I hope to change that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Doc.
Great to see you too. I just want to go around and let everybody know, please tell us how to contact you, your website, and if there's a product that you're supporting, please tell us about that as well.
Well, I'm working, hopefully to be working with a company up in Northern California called Emerald Sun. And they're going to be doing mostly, they just get the product from the farmers. They store it, they turn it into the oils and the buds and everything else. And hopefully I'll be working with them soon.
Wonderful. And how do people get a hold of you, Jim?
You know what? I don't even know what my Facebook or Twitter.
We'll
I don't
find
know.
all that out. But
Yeah, my son does that.
I love you, Jim. I can't wait to see you.
Guys, well,
Thanks, Jim.
Frank, how do people get a hold of you?
Me?
Yes.
I am at Frank Shamrock everywhere on social media, or you can hit me up at frankshamrock.com. And yeah, that's how you do it.
What's your message to all healthcare providers?
Get educated. Like really get educated, because there's they teach you a lot in school, but I think there's a huge gap in Western medicine between what the personal needs of people are. And then I would say this to the people: get educated. Because if you don't know what's going in your body, or you don't know how it's going to affect you, or you don't know where it comes from, or really what it is, you're not in control of your machine. And that when both people are educated, then we have doctors like you, Dr. Uma, we have conversations that are very, centered around self and that are really good for you. And everything you do in your health should be good for you and never bad for you. That's my motto.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Kyle. Oh, wait, Rob, you want to speak first? Go ahead, Rob. Tell me how to get you.
Oh, I didn't mean to step in. I was just saying thanks to Frank in case he was okay. Besides going to rvdcbd.com,
Nice.
Bam, still got me on the limb. All right, now I should say that part. That's kind of besides this, that I put a lot of energy into this, and will be continuing to do so, collaborating with different companies, different products, moving into the THC state by state, different licenses and such. But I had an adventure that I thought I was bringing a camera to film a week on the road. I was doing 7 days of stand-up comedy, which I do sometimes. I go on stage. I'm not anymore. Yeah, it's fun. I like to write. I like to deliver. I like to get the reaction from the crowd, similar to wrestling in that respect. But this was my whole plans got changed because I showed up on day one with double vision from a concussion that I had like 3 days before. And this was the only one I've ever had that lasted. Like I've had, like I said, hundreds, nothing. One lame little, I was rolling, and it wasn't even a hard hit, but it gave me double vision. 3 days later, it hasn't gone away. I tried to continue with the tour, and eventually I realized, well, this isn't just going away on its own. I should maybe be concerned. So the documentary became about that, and the concussion and concussion damage became the agenda of my next several years, because I brought the camera everywhere when I was wondering, do I got CTE? I'm getting my brain scanned, MRIs. I had to go through visual therapy, all this. And I learned a lot more than I ever thought I was going to learn about the whole subject of concussions. And at first, I didn't want to talk about it because, I don't, I'm a superhero. People think I'm made of rubber. I knew I was going to be considered vulnerable, which I didn't like, but I decided to go ahead and share the real personal moments. And I found that it inspired so many people that I'm like, make me the poster boy now, because I want the conversation to continue, because that's where education comes along. And people still don't talk about concussions, and that's why I made the movies called Headstrong. It's on Amazon. It's as personal as it can get, as I think documentaries should be. And I'm happy to share that, and continuing on. That's why I started my CBD company. For me, I don't mind. I went from really not wanting to open up, even if I had a broken ankle, to saying, hey, I've had concussions, I've had down moments, I've had my moments being depressed like everybody else, and let's move forward. Let's see what to do about it. So you can follow me at The Real RVD, but all my projects now are connected to that in a way that's great. I've never been part of anything that's had so much positive energy.
Thank you, Rob, for your message. And, I'm sorry you've gone through your troubles, but I think for everything that you've gone through, there's a bigger, brighter lesson that you're teaching so many other people. Continued success, and I'm here for you too.
Thank you. Follow me at the real RVD everywhere.
I will. And Kyle.
Yes. I'm a big believer in, if you're going to talk about it, you need to be about it. And the opportunities in cannabis as well for athletes to have a second life, working in this industry, having a CBD company. I have a dispensary in Southern California, Shango, and my CBD company, NeuroXPF. We were originally Neuro Armor. Under Armour sued us because we sold $1 million worth of CBD and hit the radar. These things are successful because they're helping people, and the more that RVD CBD can get in people's hands, the more that mine can, the more that Booberry, CBD and pre-rolls and marijuana. I mean, we're going into the full realm. We started our company initially as THC free because we wanted to get it to the kids. My kids have taken CBD now for going on 3 years since we started our company, and it has been a game changer. And I can go down.
How old are your kids, Kyle?
My kids are 9 and 11. And so these things are very real. Low dose is all they need, and a little bit goes so far in helping their development. My kids are the healthiest kids when they go to the doctor. They refuse to give my kids the flu shot every year, and their recovery. I mean, my son last year, he was diagnosed with flu A and recovered in 24 hours from it, and went to the doctor, and the doctor said, I have never seen a kid this healthy test positive for flu A, which killed almost 100,000 people last year. And what are you doing? And the answer was CBD. And the doctor acknowledged it and said, yeah, keep doing that. They keep doing that. So we're going to keep telling our stories. I truly believe in being about it. So neuroxpf.com, goshango.com, multi-state marijuana company that I was fortunate enough to become a part of, and do my best to be an ambassador for, and tread the waters of what you can and can't say in this industry, and try to shift that needle as well to being free and open. We live in America, and being in the industry gives you a voice to be able to, fight for that change, to be able to speak freely, to not be criminalized for saying something helps people and wanting to give that to them. And I'm just unbelievably proud to be a part of this industry. Thank you so much to Chloe and to all these guys on this panel, my mentors, my peers that are a true community. And you can see the great diversity in it that, you see at these cannabis conventions. And I tell people all the time that you need to go, and hopefully we get back to that so people can see what will truly bring this company. It is a company. It's a country. They're running it as a company, and what can bring our country together, and that's cannabis, and it's through health and wealth. And I'm proud to say that. I'm not ashamed to say that
Absolutely.
I'm in this industry, and I'm not pushing, products here. I'm pushing health and wellness. And if you get it from me, you get it from me. Get it from RVD. Get it from RVD. Get it in your system today, and make sure you put it there every day.
Thank you so much. And, I want to say, I believe there's 3 facets of how we can do. There's primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary care. My patients come to me initially for treatment, but they've been with me now, and they understand it's also about maintenance and truly about preventative care. And I want to embrace all of you folks. If you're ever in Massachusetts, please come and visit, and I would love to continue these conversations with you. I thank you very much. I thank Chloe for bringing us all together today. And remember the 3 words: educate, embrace, and empower. I'm at Uplifting Health and Wellness in Cambridge, Mass. And our phone number here is 508-444-2324. And you can email me. And I love you guys. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I couldn't do it without you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks, Chloe.
Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay healthy.
Be good. Yes, stay healthy.
Many blessings.
Thanks, Chloe.
Thank you, Dr. Uma.
Love you. Good night.
Love you too. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chloe.
Okay.
See you, Jim.
We'll
See you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.